Men, if you feel like the rules of manhood keep changing, you're not imagining it, but the solution isn't where you think. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why some men are thriving while others are drowning in confusion. Let me ask you something personal. Have you ever felt like you're getting mixed messages about what it means to be a man? Be strong, but don't be aggressive. Be ambitious, but don't be power hungry. Take initiative, but make sure you're not overstepping. Be vulnerable, but don't be weak. Show your emotions, but stay composed. It's exhausting. And if you're feeling lost, understand this: you're not broken. You're experiencing something completely natural. We're living through a massive cultural transition. The old scripts that our fathers and grandfathers followed, they don't work anymore. But no one handed us a new playbook. Both men and women are trying to figure out these new rules in real time, and that creates tension, misunderstanding, and a whole lot of confusion. Here's what most content won't tell you. This isn't about one gender attacking another. This is about everyone navigating uncharted territory. And the men who understand this, they're the ones who stop feeling like victims and start building something real. So here's the question that matters. What if the confusion you feel isn't a personal failing, but simply the reality of living in transitional times? And more importantly, what do you do about it? Let's be honest about what's actually happening. Traditional scripts for masculinity are breaking down. Your grandfather probably had a clear path: get a job, provide for your family, be the rock, don't complain. Simple, not easy, but simple. Today, the path is murky. First, there are the economic realities. That straightforward provider pathway our grandfathers walked, it's harder now. Housing costs have skyrocketed. Student debt is crushing. A single income supporting a family and buying a home? For many men, that's become a fantasy, not a plan. This isn't about making excuses. It's about acknowledging reality. Second, there's an isolation epidemic specifically affecting men. Research shows that in 1990, only 3% of men said they had no close friends. Today, that number is 15%. 1 in 6 men reports having nobody they can really talk to. Think about that. We're more connected than ever through technology, but lonelier than we've ever been. Third, there's a purpose vacuum. Previous generations had clear rites of passage. Today, many men never experience that moment where they genuinely feel like, I've become a man. They're perpetually waiting for someone to tell them they've made it, that they're enough. And here's what most guys won't admit. It's not just us. Women are experiencing their own version of this confusion. They're getting contradictory messages too. Be independent, but also be nurturing. Advance your career, but don't neglect your relationships. Have boundaries, but don't be difficult. Both sides are carrying old fears into new situations. Women have legitimate safety concerns shaped by statistics and lived experiences. Men have legitimate concerns about being judged, rejected, or misunderstood based on stereotypes. Most of the tension between men and women isn't malicious. It's not some coordinated attack. It's two groups of people trying to figure out new norms while everyone's scared of getting it wrong. But here's where it gets interesting. While everyone's arguing about whose fault this is, a small group of men are quietly building lives that make all the noise irrelevant. Let me tell you about Marcus. Marcus is a guy I knew who spent his 20s trying to figure out what women wanted. He'd read dating advice, try different approaches, change his style based on what was popular. He'd get into a relationship, and the moment things got rocky, he'd spiral. His entire sense of self-worth was tied to whether women validated him. At 29, after another breakup, something clicked. He stopped asking, "What do women want?" and started asking, "What kind of man do I want to be?" He started training in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, not to impress anyone, because it was hard and humbling and forced him to face his ego. He went back to school for engineering. He rebuilt his friendship with his father. He started reading philosophy, particularly the Stoics. 2 years later, I barely recognized him, not because he looked different, but because he carried himself differently. He was calm, grounded. He wasn't performing masculinity for an audience. He was just himself. And here's the interesting part. His relationship life got better, not because he learned some technique or strategy, but because he stopped needing validation. Women responded to his genuine confidence, not the fake kind that comes from insecurity. Marcus figured out what the ancient Stoics knew. There's a difference between what you can control and what you can't. You cannot control cultural narratives. You cannot control whether viral posts attack men. You cannot control how you're perceived by strangers. You cannot control whether someone swipes right on your profile. but you absolutely can control your character, your skills, your daily choices, your integrity, and how you respond to what life throws at you. The men who struggle most are those seeking to perform masculinity for an audience. They're constantly watching themselves through other people's eyes, wondering if they're man enough. It's exhausting, and it shows. Real masculine development isn't about performance. It's about building something solid that can't be shaken by trends or opinions. It comes down to 4 things: competence, purpose, connection, and character. Competence means mastering something valuable. Not for your resume, but because the process of getting good at something difficult builds you into someone capable. It could be a craft, a skill, a discipline. It doesn't matter what it is. What matters is that you respect yourself for doing it. Purpose means building your identity around contribution, not consumption. Who benefits from your existence? What are you building? What problem are you solving? When your identity is rooted in service to something larger than yourself, external validation becomes noise. Connection means developing genuine friendships with both men and women, not networking contacts, not drinking buddies. You never have real conversations with real friends who know you and challenge you. Character means aligning your actions with your values, regardless of who's watching. This is where most men fail. They have values when it's convenient, but compromise them the moment there's pressure. Real character is what you do when no one will ever know. So, let's get practical. If you want to build the kind of identity that makes cultural confusion irrelevant, you need to develop 4 foundations. The first pillar is your physical foundation, and I'm not talking about six-pack abs for Instagram. I'm talking about building a body that's capable, healthy, and resilient. Exercise isn't about aesthetics. It's about discipline, mental health, and taking care of the vehicle you live in. When you can push your body beyond what's comfortable, you learn that discomfort doesn't kill you. That lesson translates everywhere. The second pillar is economic independence. This doesn't mean you need to be rich. It means you need skills that create value and financial stability that gives you options. Learn to solve problems people will pay for. Build an emergency fund. Get out of consumer debt, not to impress anyone, to give yourself security and freedom. A man who's financially desperate makes poor decisions in every area of life. The third pillar is emotional intelligence, and this is where a lot of men get tripped up. They think emotions are weakness, so they suppress everything until it explodes. Real strength is understanding your own emotions before trying to navigate relationships. It's knowing when to speak and when to listen. It's being able to communicate honestly without being reactive. Vulnerability isn't weakness, it's honest communication, but you can't be vulnerable if you don't even understand what you're feeling. The fourth pillar is purpose beyond yourself. This is the big one. If your life is only about your own comfort, pleasure, or success, you'll never feel fulfilled. Humans aren't built that way. We need to contribute to something bigger. It could be your family, your community, your craft, your mission, but you need to wake up knowing that your existence matters beyond your own experience. Identity rooted in service is anti-fragile. It can't be taken from you. Let me tell you about David, a composite of several guys I've known. David graduated college with a business degree and a mountain of debt. He took a corporate job he hated, lived with roommates in a city he couldn't afford, and spent his weekends drinking and swiping through dating apps. He was going through the motions. At 27, he hit a wall. He realized he didn't respect himself. He wasn't building anything. He was just consuming. Content, alcohol, entertainment, attention. He felt hollow, so he made changes. He moved to a cheaper city where he could actually save money. He started learning woodworking, something he'd always been curious about but thought was impractical. He began coaching youth basketball in his community. He cut his social media time to 15 minutes a day. Within a year, everything shifted. The woodworking led to freelance furniture projects, which became a side business. The coaching gave him genuine purpose and connection with his community. His mental health improved dramatically, and when he eventually met someone, it was organic. Through the basketball program. He wasn't looking for validation, he was living his life, and someone wanted to be part of it. That's the pattern. Men who focus on building these 4 pillars stop chasing validation and start attracting what they want naturally. Now let's talk about relationships, because this is where guys make the biggest mistakes. If you approach dating with the mindset that women have been programmed to hate you, you've already lost. You're bringing resentment and suspicion into every interaction. People feel that energy, and it repels them. Instead, recognize this: people respond to your intentions and your energy. Confidence doesn't come from memorizing techniques or performing a role. It comes from self-knowledge. It comes from knowing who you are and being comfortable with that. Healthy relationships emerge between two complete people, not two half people seeking completion. If you need a relationship to feel valid, if you're looking for someone to rescue you or mother you, if you see every interaction as a transaction, you're not ready. Here's how you know you're ready. You can be happy alone and enjoy companionship. You don't need rescue or a mother figure. You can handle rejection without bitterness or anger. You see women as individuals with their own fears, pressures, and experiences, not as a collective enemy or a prize to be won. And here's how you know you're not ready yet. You need a relationship to feel like you matter. You hold resentment toward women as a group. You can't maintain genuine platonic friendships with women. You view relationships as transactions where you put in nice tokens and get out affection or sex, the good news. If you're not ready, you can become ready. It just requires honest self-examination and work. Here's the core truth that changes everything. The men who are thriving right now aren't reacting to cultural narratives. They're not waiting for society to figure things out. They're building something those narratives can't touch. When you know your values, when you develop genuine competence, when you build real connections, when you serve something larger than yourself, you become largely immune to the noise. You're not performing masculinity for anyone. You're not desperately seeking approval. You're not bitter about cultural trends. You're just living authentically, according to principles that have worked for thousands of years. Think about the men you genuinely respect, not celebrities or influencers, but real men in your life. What do they have in common? They're probably not the loudest in the room. They're probably not constantly talking about how alpha they are. They're probably not obsessed with what women think of them. They're calm, they're capable, they keep their word, they handle adversity without falling apart, they're present, they contribute. That's what you're building toward, not a performance, but a reality. Listen, the world is confused right now about gender, about identity, about what we owe each other. That's just the reality we're living in. But you don't have to wait for the world to figure it out. You can start today, building the life that makes sense to you, rooted in principles that have worked for thousands of years. Master yourself before seeking to master external circumstances. Build competence in things that matter. Treat people as individuals, not representatives of groups they didn't choose to be part of. Find purpose that transcends your own comfort. The question isn't, what does society expect of me? Or what do women want from me? The question is, what kind of man am I building myself into? Answer that question with your actions. Every single day, train your body, develop your skills, build genuine friendships, contribute to something that matters, face discomfort, keep your word, be honest, especially with yourself. Do that, and a year from now, you won't recognize yourself. 5 years from now, you'll be living a completely different life. The confusion isn't going anywhere, but you can build something solid that stands firm while everything else shifts around you. The choice is yours. You can spend your energy blaming cultural forces you can't control, or you can spend it building a man those forces can't touch. What's it going to be? If you're working on yourself quietly while the world argues about labels, drop a comment and let me know one area where you're building competence. Right now, I read every single one. And if you're committed to substance over noise, to character over performance, subscribe to MindForge. Next video, we're breaking down the specific skills every man should develop in his 20s and 30s, the practical blueprint for building an anti-fragile life. Forge your mind, shape your reality. I'll see you in the next one.